Okay, boys and girls, so today we're going to install a air-fuel ratio gauge. This one comes from Sunpro, which is now Bosch. So if you buy a Bosch Sunpro or Bosch, it's pretty much the same thing. Sunpro is just the older version of the name. This is a narrowband air-fuel ratio gauge, meaning that it won't tell you an exact number of what your fuel ratio is. It gives you an idea. And as we can see on this one, it has 4 LEDs for ideal, which would be 14.7 in that range. It has 3 LEDs for rich, which would be like from 10.0 to 12 something, somewhere in that range. And then there's lean, which is 3 red LEDs, which would be somewhere in the 16 to 17 range. It doesn't tell you exactly which, it just gives you an idea. These are pretty cheap. You can find these around $30-ish to $40. They will work with a 3-wire, 4-wire, and single-wire O2 sensor, and I believe 2 wires. Single-wire O2 sensor is what I'm using in this car. If you have the others, it does have the instructions in there to wire it up. The other wires are usually grounds and heaters. So, this, although it will not give you the actual number that your air-fuel ratio is, it will give you an idea. So if you have a question, am I running lean, am I running rich, that's kind of what this tells you. So we'll get to work on installing this, and it's a 2-inch diameter gauge. It does come with its own little gauge pod, and it comes with the wiring harness. So we'll get in the car, and I already have a gauge pod mounted, so I'm going to use that one, and we'll get to work on this. And now we have all our wires connected and soldered. We have a wire going to the headlight switch, which hooks to our white wires. We have key switch power, which is to our red wire. Our green wire goes to, it's red in color here, but it's the signal wire to our O2 sensor. So now we can begin by reinstalling our air-fuel ratio gauge. The bracket was previously mounted anyways, and now we will get on to that. First, you'll want to stick your, just to make life a little easier, you can stick your wiring harness through and plug it in to the gauge. There we go. And the gauge can go through. Now it's time to index the gauge, where you'll be able to see it mostly. My gauge is going to have to be at an angle to clear the dash for the sight of field of vision. And then the little horseshoe shaped bracket goes on the back over the 2 studs. And now we can use our little thumb nuts here. I forgot the name of what you exactly call these. There's 2 of those. Alright, down there. Now, of course, we'll have to tie up all our wiring, as it is a pretty big mess right now. But the gauge is all wired in. Now, the next thing is the oxygen sensor. This gauge here is a narrowband, so it's a 1-wire oxygen sensor that I'm using for this. You can use this gauge, apparently has in the instructions, for single wire, 2-wire, 3-wire, and 4-wire oxygen sensors. So, depending on which gauge you buy, it will show you how to wire the oxygen sensor in. But since we're dealing with a single wire, it is 1 wire to the wire I have going back to the back for the signal. And if your car is not originally equipped with an oxygen sensor, you're going to have to weld in a bung. Now, a cheap trick if you can't find a bung in your local area is to get what they call a spark plug no fouler and cut the top off, as it has 14mm threads, which is the same as an oxygen sensor. So I'm going to go install this and install my connector on the end. This is a universal one, it comes with no connector, and that way this gauge will be completely installed. Then we'll tidy up the wiring. Alright, so for the air fuel gauge, We have a bung welded in our exhaust. This car is turbocharged, and we have it on the outlet side of the turbo. So it's on the downpipe. It is just, here's my red wire. That is my wire for the gauge coming back. I just have a connector on it, and then we just have it wired in here. This is just a piece of a bung right here welded in there. You can buy a bung. They're a couple of dollars. If you can't find one or order one, like I say, you can use a spark plug no fouler and just cut the top of it off, and that'll work just fine. So next we'll show you in the gauge in action once we get the car going.